Welcome back, Banker Team, and today we're taking a look at 3 incredible Dwarven homes, each representing one of the most famous Warcraft Dwarven clans, the Durin's Folk, the Sleepy, and the Deep Rock. And first up, we've got Karaga on plot number 15 with their incredible recreation of the Dark Iron Dwarven areas in Blackrock. The outside of the home is this picturesque stone mountain, which is the Dwarven word for small hill. A mountain that features foliage all around the outside, and on top we can see a lovely little griffin ready to take flight. But taking a look on the inside is where things get really cool. The amount of time it must have taken to cover everything, the walls, the floor, the ceiling, all of it in a deep layer of stone is incredible. And all around us we can see that iconic dark iron design language at work. I love how their use of the lava items also contributes to that heat fog that we see in a lot of the dark iron areas. And even better, alongside the back wall here, we find some of those dark iron buildings, each of them faithfully recreated using some of the Iron Forge and other Alliance items. I particularly love the mileage they have gotten out of the Iron Forge fence item. It is a staple of this home and it fits in so well. The shaping, the architecture of this home is pristine, and all around us we can see the genuine thought and planning that went into creating such an iconic and faithful dark iron cave. Coming down the stairs to the right of the main pathway, we find that not only is there a lovely little lake down at the bottom here, but there's even an open tavern. This brings up memories of the Grim Guzzler, of other dark iron areas that we've gotten to see in the past, and I love how they've managed to use such a small selection of items because there really aren't that many Dwarven items in the game, and yet even with that limitation, they've been able to create such a wide-ranging don't click that don't, and you're stuck in the wall. Great job, Hank. But of course, the Dwarven love for mountains stretches far past the dark iron. This is Helpish on plot number 11 with their beautiful Dwarven mountain pass. Similar to the last, the outside here is meant to make the shape of a mountain, a large rocky structure with foliage growing around and behind to both hide some of the scenes and to also allow it to better blend into the surrounding area. Coming past the loyal griffin out on the front, we get to come up the stairway that leads us to the doorway to the home, this incredible Dwarven looking face. And this is one of those homes that just gets better and better the more you see. At the beginning here, we have a bit of a rocky opening, the stone tunnels that lead us into the mountain way proper. On our way up the stairway deeper into the mountain, we find some lava waiting for us halfway above, while if we were to look behind us, we can see some of the first hints at just how great the decor work is in this home. The window and small griffin embedded into the wall here are meant to evoke the feeling that this mountain range is far bigger than it seems, that this window is but one of many that stretch off all throughout the mountain pass, that there is an entire city somewhere down below. Meanwhile, at the top, we find one of my favorite pieces of this home. I absolutely adore the way that they have shaped this home here. I love the triangle framing the doorway, the little windows and the lights, and of course the really good looking custom door that fits perfectly with the rest of the aesthetic. Coming further down through the mountain pass, we've got little highlights and details all around us, but pretty quickly we find ourselves at an exquisite doorway that evokes the feeling of those hobbits from Frank Herbert's Harry Potter and the elf that really should have pushed that guy into the lava. I'm a huge fan of the orange tones throughout this home, the warm glows that we see in lighting all throughout, the way that they have perfectly framed this doorway and the many that we will see as we move deeper into the mountain. And in fact, through the door we find a perfect little Dwarven hovel. There is so much here to love. Everything from the warm glow of the fireplace, the perfectly sized furniture for dwarves all across the walls and the counters, the little items and knickknacks across the different shelves, and across the left side we can see none other than the Alliance symbol itself, custom made by hand, using tiny pieces of decor to perfectly shape the lion and his mane. And not only does it look incredible, but it even leads us to a small hatch that will take us deeper into the mountain. I'm a huge fan of how from this point onward we get to see some of the ores and other valuable materials hidden in the mountain. What follows is a long series of winding tunnels showing everything from golds to gems to other magical artifacts, all of which are presumably stored within the mountain itself. This walkway eventually leads to another door that takes us to yet another home sweet home fit for the dwarves. dwarves. The dwarf that lives deeper in the mountain here appears to be far more well off than the dwarf that lives above. They're so wealthy they even have cat furniture here on the side for their little dwarven cats, and are apparently so secure in their wealth they can afford the gas it'll take to reheat the tea they left on the table. As you've come to expect by now, any room with some bookshelves means there's gonna be a secret bookshelf door, and here we can see the dwarf has been hiding their dark secret. This dwarf believes in religion. The small vigil with the moonwell glowing all around it, the light among the sides, shows that this dwarf truly is into the nondescript, non-denominational religion that gives you magic powers. I won't say I'm bitter, but all my religion gave me was a cracker and some grape juice. And as we come past the tarp here, we find that this home continues on even further than we think. That door on the right leads us to this home's storeroom, where we find Pac-Man passed out after a night of heavy drinking, and enough supplies to serve both first and second breakfasts. And while I'm not much into dwarven cuisine myself, I can say that what we've got down here tastes very good. And if we were to come past the part of this house, we can see that there's a giant dwarven mining drill that seems to have unearthed some kind of green gem. The warning light around the mining drill is there to let us know that there's a warning light around the mining drill. And if we can bear to take our eyes off of a shiny green gem, one cool feature about this room here is that it actually wraps around back to the entryway of the home itself. I don't think this is intended to be a canon part of the home, but rather a really clever and unique way to quickly get yourself back to the beginning if you've already ended up this deep within the home. And it's coming past the stockroom where we finally end up in this home's bedrooms. There are actually quite a few living areas included here. In a way, it seems to be a bit of a hostel, maybe a place for adventurers to stay in between their adventures through the mountain pass. In fact, as we inspect every one of these rooms, we can see that all of them seem to have been designed with the idea that different people will be staying here at different times. All of them are stocked separately, and as this room tells us, the bathroom is communal. All of the different rooms we're about to see seem to share this one bathroom and shower combo. I absolutely love all the little hotel rooms on the right side of the home here. Every room has its own bed, as well as some cozy yet minimalist amenities. Usually just a light, maybe another seating area, maybe some basic storage. The room opposite the bedrooms is actually quite interesting. Coming through, we find different magical artifacts, weapons, books, and other knickknacks all across the wall. Given the context of the rest of the home, one might assume that this is maybe a storage area for the travelers to safely keep their devices, or possibly even an armory to allow the dwarves to defend this mountain pass should it actually come to that. However, the bed we find underneath is a bit of a crink in this theory. Maybe instead this is actually the bedroom of whoever owns or runs the mountain pass, and that's why it's so lavish. Or maybe it's both. Maybe this room really does store the different items that adventurers bring along their journey, and it's where the owner stays since you're entrusting your items to them anyway. It's their responsibility to keep them safe, so this is where they sleep. And finally, the last room of this home, down some short steps and through the curtain, is this gorgeous, warm, peaceful bathhouse. And man, this place looks relaxing as hell. I love the little flamingo floaty in the water, the food all around it. We can see steam rising from the center. You just know that kicking back in this room will give you the most relaxing couple of seconds you've ever had before you inevitably pick up your phone and start scrolling through TikTok once again. Yes, I'm calling you out directly, Mr. Kiwi. But of course, no Dwarven showcase would be complete without a home like this. This is King Regent Katrell on blot number 54 with their clan Battlehammer guild hall. I love how they've used the marble pillars to make a symbol for their clan on the front, and how we can see some battlements at the top, as though this isn't just a place for the guild to meet, it's a place for the guild to defend themselves, a place for the guild to be on wartime footing should it be necessary. Now I hope you've got insurance, because what we're about to see is absolutely sick. This opening hallway gives the feeling of opulence, of wealth and status. The lights along the side, the hammer insignias along the walls let us know that this ain't some small backwater clan, this is the real deal. I love seeing the handcrafted dwarven symbols along the floors, walls, and ceiling. The way that they've hidden the stitches between the Ironforge fence posts using the custom metal creations in between. But it's when we finally enter the next room that we see the first of many breathtaking set pieces. I've already mentioned how the incredible symbols go across the walls and across the ceiling, and we can see insignias across the sides, but now we see a gigantic ram head in the middle, and if you can bear it, I'm gonna make you wait to see it up close. Taking a look across the edges above us, we get the feeling that where we are right now might be a battle arena or a grand hall for audiences, because we can see seating across the edges, and on either side there are some small gated off rooms with food and weaponry. It gives the feeling that here is where the guild hosts everything, where they might have their meetings, where they host fights or exhibitions, maybe plays, dramas. I hear they're even screening that one film about the elf with which wants to end the world or something. But of course, the time has come, we can no longer ignore this gigantic ram head in the center, and the more that you look at it, the more it blows you away. Because we can see that not only is the shape absolutely fantastic, the way that they've made the armor across it, but all of this is just made out of those normal stone items, those normal rocks that we've been seeing all throughout today's video in every one of these dwarven homes. Here are used to model out a perfect, gigantic ram head. And man, is this thing cool. Coming through the ram's head, we get a little hint of the room that is to come, but first, turning to the left, we find that the spine of the ram is a stairway up into the balcony. Not only that, but the ram has been designed so that one could stand at the head of the ram and address the entire gallery. The detail work continues across the edges, of course, where we get to see little hints of the activities of the different members, with papers on some, mugs filled with beer, and even some food for the patrons. But coming down the spine of the ram, we enter the Battlehammer dining hall, and what a dining hall it is. I love how they've used the Ironforge fence post to create the main walkway in the middle here, how the tables wrap all the way around in one extended piece, how the chandeliers come down from the ceiling to create the perfect ambiance. And at the end of the walkway, we find a grand throne for the leader of the Battlehammers, a throne that features different gemstones and other valuable minerals all throughout, as though the throne itself was carved from the mountain. I love the insignia at the back of the throne, the flames coming up from the top, the leader's personal griffin off to the side. And speaking of sides, this dining hall even has seating for other members across the outer edge, an edge that wraps all the way around to this. And while at first you might think that this is a kitchenette, actually for a dwarf, this is a full-sized kitchen. I love how the placement of the curtains allows us to imagine that this is simply a forward-facing bar of a much larger kitchen, and we can even see the inclusion of some traditional earthen cuisine. And while I know all of this Grandmaster decor work has you selling your facial hair, buy my beer. Get ready to up the price, because we've got one more breathtaking room left. Coming around behind the throne, we see a small doorway that leads us into a room so detailed it would make Blizzard's own design team blush. We'll get to the centerpiece in just a second, but first we have to appreciate the magnificence of this grand hall here. The fact that the top of this hall opens up into the night sky, where we can see the moon shining down upon us. The fact that the back here is a hammer-shaped opening, both of which have that excellent dwarf-style line work all the way through. And just when you think it can't get any better, if we were to finally look at the centerpiece here, we find a fully detailed rendering of Alterac Valley. And I could spend hours talking about just this centerpiece alone. There are so many details here to miss. They got all the little caves, the pathways, all of the stone fixtures, the major graveyards are here. We can see the Elex ready to charge. The Horde camp is on one end while the Alliance camp is on the other. And the Alliance camp even includes that iconic bridge, perfectly designed to shove people off of. The Alliance Tower is exactly where the keep is. That flag is right next to the graveyard. They even have that neutral graveyard in the middle. The elevations here are nearly perfect. The pathways that go all the way through. This is brilliant. This thing is so good. From the halls to the ram to the Alterac plan. Oh man, am I a Battlehammer fan. Don't forget to like and comment, and if you would like to have your house showcased, there will be a link to the Bank Showcase Submissions Discord down below.